Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over a ton of stuff on the UFC 320 aftermath. Just uh, chaos, right? Drama, business talk.
Yeah, it's been pretty intense. The noise level was incredible.
But beneath all that chatter, like you said, there are these hidden stories. The actual physical risks, the money side of things, some of it's pretty staggering when you look closer.
Exactly. High-stakes sport, sure, but the fallout really shows the real cost of playing at this level. So today, we're going to try and cut through that noise for you.
Right.
We're looking at basically three main things. First, this really serious injury story around Magomed Ankalaev.
The light heavyweight contender, yeah.
Then, how the whole division reacted. You've got praise, you've got some sniping between the stars.
Always some drama there.
Always. And third, and this is a big one, a really sharp look from a major insider, Eddie Hearn, about the economics. Specifically, this claim that fighters could or should be making like 5 to 7 times more.
Wow. Okay, so we're hunting for those aha moments, right? The things hidden in the interviews, the transcripts that really change how you see things, especially like the health risks and the financial stuff for the fighters. Let's dig in. Okay, got to start with the main event. Pereira versus Ankalaev, the rematch. Pereira gets the win, but almost instantly there's all this controversy swirling around Ankalaev's condition before the fight even started.
Yeah, because his manager, Ali Abdulaziz, he just dropped a bombshell, really. Said Ankalaev went into UFC 320 with a severe rib injury.
Which, people hear that after a loss and they immediately think,
Skepticism, yeah. Oh, here come the excuses, especially since.
well, yeah, people watched the fight. They saw Pereira land those massive elbows right to the ribs. So everyone's thinking, okay, maybe it happened during the fight. Maybe it's exaggerated.
But they thought it was maybe round 2 or just, post-fight talk. But then Daniel Cormier, DC, he stepped in, and what he said kind of flipped the whole thing.
Okay, what did DC say?
Well, he tackled that skepticism head on. He basically told everyone, look, this injury was legit, it was severe, and it was not a lie and not an excuse.
Okay, but how did he know? Because that's the key, right? Saying it is one thing, but proving it, especially weeks before, that changes the narrative about the risk Ankalaev took.
Totally. And DC laid it out. He said, and I quote, I saw a video of him getting injections into his rib to try to help him get to the fight.
Whoa, injections, like serious medical intervention.
Exactly. Weeks before. We're not talking about, a quick shot for a bruise. This sounds like a major structural problem they were trying to manage just to get him physically able to walk out there.
Okay, so if he needs injections just to make the walk, the sources also said people around him were trying to get him not to fight.
Yeah. Apparently people close to him were advising against it, which tells you how serious the problem was.
So why push through? What was the reasoning?
Well, according to DC, the pressure was huge, but a lot of it was internal too. Ankalaev apparently insisted he wanted to beat Pereira again, and he understood, strategically, how important getting 2 wins over Alex would be for his status, for cementing himself at the top.
Okay, so it was about legacy, opportunity, locking down that top spot.
Seemed like it.
Yeah.
He was basically gambling his physical health for that shot, prioritizing the status over maybe taking time off to heal properly.
And DC did sort of add that caveat, didn't he? That even though Ankalaev wasn't 100%, Pereira fought so well that maybe the result wouldn't have changed anyway?
He did speculate on that, yeah. But, that's kind of beside the point, isn't it, whether the result changes or not. The risk he took is the real story here.
Right.
The sources paint this picture of an athlete making a really tough calculation.
Yeah.
Risk potentially career-altering injury for this huge immediate opportunity. It happens a lot in combat sports, we know that, but having that concrete detail, the video of the injections, it makes the human cost feel very, very real for anyone listening.
Okay, so beyond Ankalaev's physical struggle, the whole light heavyweight division seems completely buzzed after Pereira's win. It wasn't just the injury talk, it was the reaction from his rivals. And maybe the most striking thing was the praise from Jamahal Hill.
Yeah, Hill's reaction was, well, pretty inspiring, actually. Shows some maturity, maybe.
Especially given their history.
Exactly. He fought Pereira, lost the title to him, but he put out this video just full of genuine praise, called Pereira impressive, and even called him the biggest star in MMA right now. That's big coming from a direct rival.
And Hill really focused on one particular quote from Pereira, didn't he? Something that seemed to resonate way beyond just MMA fans.
Oh, absolutely. The tire shop quote.
Right. Tell us about that.
So apparently during a face-off, Pereira said something like, I don't want to go back to the tire shop. And Hill heard that and just clicked with him. He said it speaks to that deep fear of going back to, hard, grinding, low-paying work.
That came from nothing, grind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hill felt it resonated with anyone who came from nothing that grinded to get to this point. It suddenly makes the whole fight about more than just belts and glory. It's about aspiration, escaping hardship. Really powerful stuff.
And Hill said that win, that whole vibe, it lit a fire under the whole division. And we know a lot of the top guys were actually there, right? Watching live.
Yeah, the sources mentioned a bunch of top 205ers were in attendance. Olberg, Yuri, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Hill himself. They were all watching Pereira defend that title. They saw what it takes, maybe saw the path.
So you've got this motivation bubbling up, but it wouldn't be MMA without some politics, right? Some side drama.
Yay, never.
Yeah.
We also got some classic division sniping. Carlos Olberg, who just had that big knockout win over Dominic Reyes the week before.
Staking his own claim for a title shot.
Right. Well, he decided to take a public shot at Jiri Prochazka.
Oh, yeah. What was Olberg's beef with Jiri? Seemed kind of specific.
It was really specific. Remember Jiri's emotional reaction after his knockout win? It went viral.
Yeah, very intense.
Well, Olberg criticized him for apparently standing right in front of Pereira and Ankalaev while they were making their walk to the cage. Olberg thought it was distracting, maybe blocking their focus right before the fight.
Seriously, like cage-side etiquette police.
Pretty much. He was saying Jiri should step back, let the boys do their thing. It just shows you how closely these guys watch each other, down to the tiniest details, looking for any edge or sign of weakness, even in how you stand by the cage.
Wow. So you've got this real mix of inspiration and political maneuvering happening all at once in that division.
Fascinating. Okay, well, let's pivot now, because if we're talking about motivation and risk like Ankalaev fighting, hurt, we have to connect that to the money. And this brings us to that really blistering critique from Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter. This feels like it shifts the whole conversation.
Oh, completely. Hearn was on Ariel Helwani's show, and he just laid into the UFC's fighter pay structure, the profit split. He basically argued the whole system is designed to be, well, opaque and fundamentally unfair to the fighters who actually generate the cash. And he put a number on it, didn't he? That's the part that really jumps out. What was that core claim about how much fighters should be earning?
Yeah, the number was explosive. He claimed that if the revenue was shared fairly, transparently, like he suggests it should be, fighters would be making 5, 6, 7 times more than they're making at the moment.
5 to 7 times.
Yeah.
That's not just a little bit more. That's a completely different financial reality.
It's a massive structural difference he's talking about, not just, a pay bump.
And he compared it to how things work with big boxing stars like Anthony Joshua, talking about transparency.
Exactly. Hearn's ideal, or his alternative model, is what he called the open book approach. Okay. He basically said a start fighter should be told, look, this is your show, get full access to the financials, and take something like 80% of the profit, with the promotion taking 20%.
80-20, wow. That completely flips the power dynamic, doesn't it?
It does. It puts the risk and reward much more heavily on the fighter's performance and drawing power, but it also empowers them because they actually know what the show generated. They see the numbers.
So if that potential is there, and that 80-20 model exists elsewhere, why does Hearn think the UFC can maintain such a different split? What's the mechanism keeping pay lower, in his view?
His main argument comes down to leverage, or rather the lack of it because of a lack of transparency. He believes fighters just don't have any understanding of how much revenue is in the pot.
They don't know the real numbers.
Right. And he thinks the UFC model, with its league structure, the contender series, all that, it allows them to pay what he pretty bluntly called peanuts. He mentioned figures like 50K, 100K, 200K, even for really high-level fighters.
So Hearn's saying the structure itself is designed to keep fighters in the dark about the total revenue from the gate, PPV, those huge TV deals like with Paramount or ESPN.
Exactly. And by keeping them in the dark, it removes their main negotiating tool. They can't effectively argue for a bigger slice if they don't know how big the pie actually is.
So the profit for the promotion is
unbelievable, was his word. He thinks the power dynamic is totally skewed because the athletes, the actual product, don't have the financial data to back up demands for more. They're treated more like, contract employees in a league, not independent stars generating massive revenue.
That is a powerful critique. Really puts the risks fighters take into a different perspective. Okay, before we wrap things up on those big themes, the hidden risks, the money debate, There were a few other, maybe smaller, but still interesting moments from around fight week that popped up in the sources, right?
Yeah, a couple of quick hits. First, sticking with the money theme, Charles Oliveira.
Oliveira. He's not looking for just any fight, is he? He's got specific targets.
Definitely not. He's actively campaigning, apparently, to get on a specific high-profile card, one linked to Donald Trump's birthday, for
Yeah.
maximum eyes on him. And more directly, he made it super clear he's targeting that mega fight with Conor McGregor,
The money fight.
the ultimate money fight. It really shows that shift for some established stars, doesn't it? It's less about climbing the ranks, maybe, and more about chasing the biggest possible payday, title or no title.
Makes sense from his perspective, I guess. Okay, what else? Something a bit lighter.
Yeah, a cool moment with Mateo Gamiermer, who's actually set to fight Oliveira. He was doing the media workout down in Rio, and you know that infamous Brazilian chant?
Sort of buy more.
That's the one. You're gonna die. Pretty intimidating.
Yeah, usually rattles fighters.
Well, Gamera apparently just embraced it, smiled, waved at the crowd. Didn't seem fazed at all, just took it completely in stride. Kind of speaks to the mental game you need for these international fights.
Good for him. And one last thing, something about training intensity.
Yeah, just a quick glimpse behind the curtain. Some footage got released by Sean Mora, who's Morab Dvalishvili's sparring partner. It showed some intense sparring sessions as Morab was prepping for Corey Sandhagen. Yeah, just a brutal reminder that what we see on Fight Night is just the tip of the iceberg. Weeks and weeks of unseen, grueling work goes into it before they even step in the cage. Hashtag outro.
Man, what a deep dive that was. UFC 320 just keeps giving, doesn't it? So we've covered Ankalaev's hidden injury, the injections confirmed by DC. Pretty shocking stuff.
Yeah, the real physical toll. Then you had the division's reaction, Pereira inspiring guys like Hill, even his rivals.
That tire shop quote really hit home.
It did. And then, of course, that massive economic critique from Eddie Hearn, the whole 5 to 7 times more pay claim.
Just hangs in the air, doesn't it?
It really does. And it creates this, fundamental paradox for the sport, which leads to maybe one last thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
Well, Jamahal Hill talked about that incredible fire, that motivation in the 205 division right now.
Yeah.
That internal drive, right, to escape the tire shop.
Yeah, that pure passion.
But then you hear someone like Hearn lay out the potential money being left on the table, that the pry might be 5, 6, 7 times bigger than what the fighters are getting. What does knowing that or suspecting that do to the internal fire?
That's a tough question. Does that external financial pressure change things?
Does it change how fighters weigh those risks? Like Ankalaev fighting with a busted rib just to get those 2 wins. Does it start to feel less about pure passion and maybe more about grabbing what you can, maximizing that opportunity now before the next injury or the next lowball contract comes along?
The balance between that personal drive and the corporate reality of the sport.
Exactly, that constant, tricky balance between passion and profit in high-level combat sports. Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. All right, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.